Sunday nights with Sylvia Camille. Yeah. Welcome back to another amazing night with yours truly, Sylvia Camille. Guys, the sun is just shining today and it's been a beautiful Sunday. And I hope you had an amazing week. Remember, last week's word of the week was resurrection. To restore anything that was going on in your life that you haven't resurrected because Jesus Christ last Sunday rose from the dead. He has risen again. So anything in your heart and your mind, your soul desire that you've been working on and you just haven't done it, you are still alive. So go ahead and do it. But guess what this week's word of the week is? Believe. 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 The word believe. To believe the truth that something is going to happen. So whatever you have been restoring all week long, you've got to believe in your heart and in your mind and your soul and your spirit that it will come to pass. And our special guest tonight, Adrian J. Woods, has a new single, I Still Believe. So let me go ahead and bring her into the studio room so you can hear all about her journey.
Hey, good
Hello,
evening, everybody.
Adrian.
Hi.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you with me tonight on Sunday Night Live, and we're going to jump right on into it. So, who is Adrian J. Woods?
Who are Meals?
Other than a single songwriter, what more?
I'm gonna give you guys just a little bit of background, like the obligatory information. So I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. Been here all my life. I did leave for college. I went to DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana, where I did not major in anything concerning music. I actually majored in Spanish, and I have 3 minors in sociology, anthropology, and Black studies. So nothing music related at all. And then went on to get my master's in applied linguistics. So still not music related. So a lot of people don't know that about me. They just assume that, oh, you're a teacher, you must be a music teacher. Not at all. I teach English as a second language. I'm a linguist by trade. And singing is what I do. It's what I love to do. That's what I grew up doing. We were always in the choir. Both my mom and my dad sang. Me and all my sisters were classically trained on piano and several other instruments. So music was as much a part of our family as family reunions and Sunday dinners. Like that's just what we do.
I love it. So, let's talk about that singing journey. How did you begin singing?
Oh, so when I was much younger, when I was a little girl, I started singing with the adult choir when I was 5 years old, and my first solo was "There Is No Way" by Reverend Milton Bronson at five. At
At
five, y'all.
five. All
And
right. You might have to sing a little bit for us.
I was singing. Hold up, I was singing with the adult choir, right? But I had always just been in a house of people who just sing when we clean up. Like Saturday mornings was our mornings to get up and clean up, and there was always music in the house. I remember riding to my piano lessons with my dad, and he would have on Natalie Cole. So I knew all of the lyrics to the songs, right? All of them. L is for the way you look at me. I knew every song on that record because I listened to it over and over and over and over again. And even with the things that we were exposed to at home, right? So we would listen to the classical music station where I would hear the opera music and I would hear the jazz music on 91.9 WCLK. Shout out Clark College. But yeah, I would hear those things growing up. So I don't know how I started singing. I just
You
started
just,
singing. It was just something that I did. And my sisters, of course, also sing. So I feel like it was kind of like a non-negotiable. Like you're in this family, you will sing.
you will
Yeah.
sing. All right. So, let's talk about you're also a worship leader.
I am the worship leader at Light of the World Christian Tabernacle, where the founder is Ruth W. Smith and our pastor is Bishop Kevin Jones. It's in Stockbridge on 155. So if you know where 155 is and you know where Stockbridge is, make sure that you come on out and visit us. We are there every Sunday morning having in-person church. Wear your mask, observe social distancing. We are there on Wednesday nights for our midweek service, and there are other opportunities for you to come worship with us. First Friday is always fresh fire. So there are lots of things going on at the light. Right. So y'all come on into the light. But yeah, being a worship leader, uh as a kid growing up in the Baptist church, they taught us how to lead devotions. So metered hymns, a charge to keep I have, a God to glorify. Yeah. And then also learning every hymn in the hymn book as it was written, right? All the verses, all 4 verses, all of them. uh, so being a worship leader, I've always been in front of people. So being a worship leader was natural for me as far as the singing part. But as I got older and more mature in my walk with Christ, I realized that my designation, as it would be, as a worship leader is so much more than just getting a microphone and singing, right? That I'm up there to do war, that I am up there to make sure that the atmosphere is set along with the other singers that are there, to make sure that the atmosphere is set and conducive for the word of God to go forth, to make sure that there is healing, deliverance, and salvation that takes place. And I was telling my sister earlier today, I am never satisfied with my worship. I'm never satisfied with my worship because I know that there's always more. I never get to a place of complacency with my worship because I'm not satisfied until I see people bringing in dead corpses to be raised by the power of Jesus Christ, according to the finished work of Christ on the cross. So I am never satisfied with my worship, because there's always something more. There's always some tumor that needs to fall off in the midst of that environment. There's always a heart that needs to be healed. There's always a dumb spirit that needs to talk. There's always a deaf spirit that needs to hear. And so I'm never satisfied with my worship until I can see the manifested power of God in that place, until there is no room to stand to minister. I'm never satisfied as a worship leader. And I know probably to some people that sounds a little crazy because they're like, oh, girl, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. But let me tell you something. I'm crazy enough to know that God is who he says that he is. He's not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. And if he said it, so shall he perform it. So if the word says that I'm going to raise the dead and I'm going to heal the sick and the lame is going to walk and the deaf are going to hear and the mute are going to speak, then I am crazy enough to believe that every single time I have a public encounter with God, that is my expectation, that I fully expect to see miracles, signs, and wonders. Why? Because I believe. And it says that it follows them that believe, right? So I fully go into the expectation of seeing all of that happen in that place. And I get so excited about the opportunity to minister, about the opportunity for God to use me as a vessel for healing and deliverance and for somebody to be set free. I get so excited to where I can't stand myself. And my team will tell you, like, she's like a little kid in a candy store. I'm like, yes, it's time. Yes. And I'm in the back all giddy and bubbly because I'm like, yes, God is going to do something great today. And I can't wait to see it. I'm excited to be a part of it and bear witness to it in this time. And I shared with my team this morning, I believe the way that I believe because I've seen bodies raised from the dead. I've seen legs grow out where one leg was shorter than the other, and it just miraculously evened out, literally grew before our eyes. I've seen those types of miracles. I've seen people come in with a walker or a cane and walk out of there free like nothing ever happened to them. I've seen it. I've seen it with my eyes. And so I believe it with my whole heart that every time we come together in corporate worship, it should be that way. It should be that way. There's no exception. So I'm never satisfied until I see it.
I love it. One of our viewers said, "Not you are not crazy. That is powerful."
Oh yeah, oh
That's
yeah,
powerful.
it's amazing. God is amazing.
You touched on it just a little bit. We're going to come back to your journey, and I'm going to ask you something. But when you were speaking, and you said you don't give up, what would you say to that person though who's listening or viewing later, who does not have that belief that you have?
Yeah, I would just say challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to believe like never before. Listen, we watch the Falcons every other Sunday, and we believe that they're gonna win that game, right? So if you have that much vain belief in the Falcons to win, then I just believe that you can believe in God the same way, right? And I'm an Atlanta girl, so I'm joking. I don't want to right. With me and click off. Don't click off.
No.
Don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. No. But yeah, I would say challenge yourself. Think about that thing that you really, really want God to do. Is it a sibling that you want saved? Is it somebody that's addicted to drugs and you want to see them delivered? Is it something in your own personal health? Are you struggling with an illness? Are you struggling with heartbreak? Here's the thing that I was struggling with the most. I was struggling with unbelief.
Ah, come on now.
I was struggling with my faith. There was a period of time where I said, why do I believe what I believe? Why do I have faith in God? Do I believe it because somebody taught me to believe in this, or do I genuinely believe it? Like, what's my tie-in? What is my personal tie-in? What is my I know it for myself? You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I had to get to a place, an alone place, but not a lonely place, because God is always with you. But I had to get to a place by myself to really reconcile my own faith and reconcile my own belief. And I find that a lot of times, those of us who grew up in the church and we've been believers since been doing that, right? Mm-hmm. We are the ones that have the hardest time believing that God can do it, because we see God do it for everybody else, but we don't feel like we ever see God do it for us, right? And so we struggle in that faith. So to the person that's watching now and you're struggling in your belief, challenge yourself. Ask God for it. Ask God for it. Write it down. And every time you get to a place where God ain't gonna do it, silence yourself. Do not let those things come out of your mouth. Don't speak those curses over your life, because our words have power. We are co-creators with God, right? So whatever we speak, so it shall be. So when you say God is not going to do it, I don't believe it, you have just then put all over your life a curse and something in reverse to what God has already set in motion. So you have to be careful about what you speak, but write that thing down, say it to yourself, even if you got to write it on your mirror in lipstick, or put a sticky note everywhere you go and say, I am believing God for healed finances. I am believing God for my parents' longevity of life. I am believing for healing. I am believing for my church to explode and grow out of the seams. Like whatever it is that you're believing for, write that thing down and get up in the morning, first thing in the morning, you say it to yourself every day. And don't say it as in it's not already done. Say it as if it's already finished, because guess what? The work that Christ did on the cross is already done. Everything we need, everything we've ever asked for, anything that we can conceive is already done, because that's what Christ died for. Yeah. So it's already done. If you're believing it and you're saying it you know what? I'm healed. Now that don't mean be delusional. Take yourself and do what you got to do. If you're supposed to go to the doctor, go to the doctor. If you're in the middle of treatment, go to your treatment. But you walk into that doctor's office and you walk into that treatment already knowing that, you know what, God is victorious. We sang today, never be defeated, because God is the greatest power. I shall never be defeated, right? And so if you truly, truly believe that, when you speak that thing, I'm already healed. I'm a millionaire, right? I live in a 18-bedroom house. My mother is going to live until 100. My father is going to outlive his siblings, right? So you speak those things, you put those things into the atmosphere as if it is already there. And it keeps you from going back and backtracking to that place of, well, I don't really know. No, you're worthy, right? So those are the things that we struggle with our belief. We don't believe that we're worthy enough for God to do it. And that's why we struggle. Yeah.
You ministering to me, not just my view.
I'm talking to myself. I have to talk to myself like this every single day. I am worthy of my healing. I am worthy of my deliverance. I am worthy of my next level. I am worthy of the platform that God is taking me to. In fact, I'm already there, and all I got to do is walk in victory.
Come on,
you know what I'm saying? It really is that simple. And I don't mean to make it feel like it's ABC and rudimentary, but it really honestly is. It really, truly is. When you relax and you let go and you realize you ain't control of it anyway, it ain't even in your hands. You can't do nothing to change it no way. Just walk in it. Just walk in it and receive it. And don't be afraid when it doesn't look like what you want it to look like. Just because it don't look like what you want it to look like don't mean that it ain't what it's supposed to be, right? And we have to get out of that, because we want to dictate to God what to do, how to do it, what it's supposed to look like, when it's supposed to happen. That ain't how this works. That's not how any of this works. Belief says, I trust you even when I can't trace you. When I don't see it, I know better, because I know the God that I serve, and I know that he's faithful. So I'm just going to walk in that, believing that it's already done, and just, it is what it is.
Oh, it's some beautiful comments on here. And one of them is saying, I am believing for. And she said, Haradine is saying, I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to post all these beautiful comments. Yes, the fire from Shermanita. Charma has said, don't look back. No. Don't backtrack. Yes.
That's good stuff, and I'm glad it's blessing somebody. Because when I tell y'all, if I'm not careful, I'll get into that place of God is not going to do this for me. Who am I that God would even listen to me and hear me when I pray to Him? Like I ain't nobody. We got to be careful not to be in that place, especially when it's rehearsed humility.
Mm. Now
Because
that's what I was going. That's what I was going to ask you next. Just by you saying that, what is that human spirit inside that makes us believe that we are not worthy, and
it
we are so worthy?
it could come from anything, right? So the root of it could be abandonment. Maybe you struggle with abandonment issues, and so you don't feel like you're worthy for anybody to be around you because nobody's ever wanted to stay around. Or maybe you struggle with feeling worthy enough for love because people in your life weren't affectionate towards you, right? So just because the people around you or your life circumstances dictated one thing does not mean that you are not worthy. God is not people, and people are not your God, right? And so you have to be settled in that thing. I'm telling you, the journey of knowing who you are and becoming who you are and understanding how close and how intimate you are with that I am, and that you walk with the I am every day and every single day, even though He is the I am, He's telling you who you are so that you can empower yourself and say, well, I am. You know what I'm saying? It's a journey. Nobody gets there overnight. But what it really is that as humans, we have a human experience. And in
Mhm.
that human experience, we experience hurt, we experience disappointment, we experience unfaithfulness, we experience people being judgmental, right? We experience abuse and abandonment, and all these things combined is what makes us who we are. And if we were to take those things away, you wouldn't be who you are. You would not be the God ordained person that you're supposed to be, right? Because He gives us those things to make us stronger. It knits us together with Him even the more. It makes that three chord even
Mm.
stronger so that we can stay with Him. You understand what I'm saying? If
Woo.
you never had hard days, you'll never be thankful for the good ones. And so we get into those places and we get in our heads and we'll say, well, I'm not worthy because I was raped. I'm not worthy of love because I was molested. I'm damaged goods because some man took advantage of me. Or I'm not worthy of my healing because I can't even control my diet. The devil is a liar and
Mm.
God is exalted. As long as you are living here on this earth and you are a child of the Most High, you shall never be defeated. Death, hell, and the grave could not defeat Him. What makes you think that your little stinking thinking can defeat the God that you serve?
Come on.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it really is a mindset change because we don't struggle against flesh and blood. We don't fight against that. We fight against principalities and powers in high places, in these high places, and wickedness in these high places, right? It's the mind that's the battlefield. And if you can get your mind, oh my goodness, what was this?
Mm.
We used to wake up singing, I woke up this morning
And
with
it was-
mine and it was stayed on Jesus. And I thought that was so silly. Growing up, I thought it was so silly. But the older you get, baby, if you don't keep your mind stayed on Jesus, the world will try to take you out of here. Okay. So waking up with a song on your heart and waking up with a praise on your lips and a thank you in your spirit, that is what keeps you every day. The blood of Jesus and your ability to acknowledge God for who He is in your life, it keeps you day to day. It'll sustain you. It will sustain you.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Know it, that now I know it for myself. I
So
know
this is
it.
this is a good time because
Oh yeah.
this is
You
a
better
good time to talk about I still believe.
come on.
Where was that birth
Come
from?
on. So I still believe, oh my goodness. So at the time that I wrote that song, I don't even I was dealing with some things. I'm gonna be very transparent because I've told my testimony before,
Mhm.
but I have not told it in this way in on a social media platform. So at the time that I wrote I Still Believe, I was dealing with some very personal issues. I had a surgery scheduled for my fibroids. I was struggling with fibroids. So women, if you are out there, you struggling with anything dealing with your uterus or your ovaries or your reproductive system, let me tell you something. Don't let the devil shame you into silencing you. Somebody out there needs to know how you got over so that they can receive their healing. These folk out here telling women that they barren and they really not. I'm blessing and speaking over your womb right now. You shall reproduce in Jesus' name. You don't have to have that hysterectomy in Jesus' name. There's somebody out there that can help you and get over that without you having to mutilate your body. Amen. That's my spiel. But I had a surgery scheduled, and that year, previous to that, December of, oh my goodness, was it 2018? I was at a watch night service and everything was fine. I'm intercessory prayer, doing the thing, and midnight I started hearing voices. I had a psychotic break, and I was aware that that's what it was. Let me tell you how God will keep you. You will know that something is wrong. You will refuse all of the help. Your mind will be a whole wreck, and God will still preserve you and keep you, and nobody will know what's wrong with you. Nobody knew. Nobody knew that I was hearing voices for a whole year. So from December of 2018 to December of 2019, midnight to midnight, I was literally hearing voices. And the voices were telling me, you're going to die this year. You're going to die this year. This is it. You're going to die this year. And there would be days I didn't hear it during the day. But before I would go to bed, I'd be like, ooh, I made it a whole day without hearing something. I would lay my head down on my pillow and I couldn't sleep because you know what I was hearing? You're going to die this year, right? So surgery got closer and closer. I approached surgery and I was terrified. The doctors had to give me a sedative to calm me down so that they could put me under so that they could do the surgery because my blood pressure was stroke level. Like, we don't get her to calm down, she ain't gonna make it through this for real, right? So a year of anxiety attacks literally every day, a year of hearing voices, a year-long psychotic break. And this is the first time I'm saying it on social media. This is the first time my family is hearing it. My mother is watching on my Facebook page. So this is the first time that she's even hearing it. So I know I'm going to get an earful later. But I had started planning my own death. My doctor told me that there was a polyp that she thought might be cancerous or it might not be cancerous. They won't really know until they go in and test it. I bought cancer insurance just in case. I had started, increasing my limits for all of my insurances because I just knew that this is how the devil was going to take me out, that this was going to be it because I've been hearing voices in my head the whole year saying, you're going to die this year. And so one night I was on the phone with a friend of mine who now lives in California. His name is Eddie. I was on the phone with him and he didn't even know what was going on. And we were just talking, chit-chatting. And every time I would get on the phone with him, we would magically write like some piece of a song and not even realize that that's what we had done. We would be texting each other, ooh, that's a good one. That's a good line, right? And I went to bed that night hearing voices, went to bed. And in all of that time, I never reached out to anybody for help. And I should have. If you got some mental health stuff going on, you better talk to somebody. Because what happened next, I wrote the song. God woke me up at 3:00 in the morning. And I was used to being woken up out of my sleep with lyrics, but not to this extent. So he woke me up, and the first part I heard was, I still believe in the impossible. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'll remember it. So I rolled over to go back to sleep. I wasn't even thinking about it. God would not let me go to sleep. He kept repeating that melody in my head. Do you hear me? So I get up and I write it down in my phone. I type it up. And I'm thinking that the first part of the song, that's it. That, that's all God got for me. So I laid back down. He said, no, I got the whole song. Get up. So I had the second part. Endow me with your power and strength. All right. So I heard all of that. I heard the end of it. Yes to you. Yes to you. Yes. Yes, I believe. I heard the entire recording in my head before I recorded it. I heard the drums. I heard the organs. I heard everything I was supposed to hear to make the song. I'm getting sentimental. I'm trying not to cry because I'm cute today. But I heard Everything.
Come on.
Everything. In 2018. This was 2018. I heard it all. Right? No, 2019. I heard it all. Right? So I heard this whole song. I wrote it down. And then because I couldn't sleep, I stayed up and I sang it to myself on my voice recording. Months went by, months went by, months went by. And I kind of reached out to a few people and said, hey, can you help me, put some music to this so that I can really hear what it is that I'm hearing? People fell by the wayside. They said they was going to do it, didn't do it. And I gave up on the song because I said, well, maybe God is not wanting me to do this right now. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe I'm putting too much into it, And I let the song die. In between all of that, I planned my suicide.
Mm.
I planned my suicide before I even sang the song and let anybody hear it. I knew that I had written the song, but I was so much more concerned with my exit that I didn't see where God was taking me.
Come on. Beautiful test. Somebody need to hear it.
So I took a trip. This also my mother does not know about. So I know she's watching this and she's like, oh my God. Right. But I planned my suicide trip. I got in the car and I drove down to Florida with a friend of mine who did not know. I'm telling you, nobody knew what I was dealing with. Nobody knew. I told no one. Drive down to Florida. I said, okay, this is how I'm going to do it because I got to make it look like this because I want to make sure the family gets the life insurance money. I don't want them to struggle paying my bills and my, all of this going on. I want to be able to leave an inheritance. So I got to make my death look like this. I had been thinking about it for months. And I said, okay, I got to make it look like this. It has to happen like this. Because if it happens any other way, then I'm going, they're going to lose the house. And I really want a house to somebody. Yeah. And so I got there and I said, I'm just going to walk into the ocean. I'm just going to go drown. I'm going to walk into the ocean because I can't swim in open water. I cannot swim in open water. And the waves had been really choppy that week because prior to that, there had been a storm. So the waves were really choppy. So I knew if I walked in there with all my clothes on, I was going to go straight to the bottom. Right. And so I took a walk the morning that we were supposed to be coming back. And my friend did something to let me know that, yeah, I can't leave no plans with this joker because they ain't gonna do the right thing and we're gonna lose the money, Girl, listen, the devil had me on some stuff. Do you hear me? And so I went for a walk on the beach and I just kind of stood there and I looked at the waves. I said, well, let me just go on and do it. He won't know. He'll think somebody done abducted me. They'll have a week-long investigation looking for me, and then they'll realize that she did, right? And so I was standing on the edge of the water, still hearing voices this whole time, still hearing voices. And this random homeless man, I know you asked me about how did I get the song, but it goes into the strength of recording.
Hey, this the testimony.
So hold up. This man walks up to me smelling like beer and regrets, girl. A whole homeless man. And he walks up to me and he starts talking to me. And in my mind, I'm like, listen, sir, I got something I'm trying to do. I ain't got time to sit here and talk to you. I'm trying to walk into this ocean right here. Right. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. I need you to go away. Right. So he looks at me. We've been chatting and he looks at me. He said, can I tell you something? I say, yeah. And I have dismissed this man in my mind. He looks at me. He said, Jesus loves you. And when I tell you, I have never felt a breaking like that in my spirit, ever. It was, I can't describe it. It was as if the ocean were inside of me. The waves crashed and moved something and knocked it over. In order for my mind to be clear enough in that moment for the voices to stop, for me to hear this man say, Jesus loves you. And this homeless man hugged me and held me and I cried in his arms. I don't even know how long I was standing there crying. And so we talked and of course he told his story and I'm over there crying and telling him my story. And then I came to a resolve, well, maybe this is not my time yet. And so I said my goodbyes and I walked away, and I turned around to look to see where he went, and he was gone as if he had never been there before. And I am convinced that that was an angel of the Lord that was sent to me in that moment to say, no, you got work to do. You ain't going out like this. This is not how it's supposed to happen. And that at that point I realized, okay, I can't give up. I know I'm hearing these voices. I know I'm going crazy, but I'm gonna have to push through these voices and get done what I need to get done, right? So I get back to the car, we drive back to Atlanta, and I want to say maybe like a few weeks after that, I contacted the guy that actually ended up producing the song for me, who was an old friend of mine, and went through the process. And the entire process, of course, anxiety attacks every day, still hearing the voices, pushing through the process, crying in the studio for no good God reason. Okay. Crying, just weeping and in tears. Yeah. And I could not enjoy the process of recording the song because I had so much going on in my head that you could not believe. It was a fight every single day to get up out of the bed and say, I'm going to go to the studio. I'm going to finish this song. I need to call Kelvin. I need to talk about instrumentation and who's going to play and who's going to sing. And okay, I need to talk to the graphic designer and what is that going to look like? My photographer can tell you that I was just completely depressed. The entire process, I was depressed. And it took a work for her to get me to a place where I was comfortable taking pictures. I didn't want to take any pictures. I didn't know what it was going to look like, but I just knew I didn't want to be in front of nobody's camera, right? So I was having a whole moment. The song released on Labor Day. I don't even think I was happy about it. I was just kind of glad that it was over. And it did not hit me. The words of my own song, y'all, did not hit me until December 31st of 2019. Going into 2020, realizing that I was sick as a dog. I got real sick, right? So I'm like, okay, well, this is it. They said I was going to die this year. What I really believed was COVID-19 at the time, but I got so sick I couldn't breathe. I couldn't sing. I was gasping for air. I'm sitting up on the sofa every night because I couldn't lay down to sleep because I felt stuff moving around in my chest. I just knew I was going to leave up out of here. So at midnight, January 1st, 2020, when I was still able to open my mouth and open my eyes and breathe, is when that psychosis broke off of me. I have not heard a voice since. I don't know what that was about and why God needed to take me through 12 months of losing my mind. But I'm so grateful to God that I know God for myself. Amen. I could find myself in a place of belief, right? That I still believed in mountains that move and a God that is able to do the impossible to empower me to move my own mountains, right? The lyrics of the song didn't sit in until January 1st, 2020. That's when it became real to me. It was the 1st of January at midnight, 2020. That's when I was able to say, I get it. Prior to that, I had not been able to understand it. Girl, my daddy almost died in 2019. I'm sitting at his bedside in the hospital singing him this little piece of the song. Daddy, I wrote a song, trying to keep him here. But singing it and not believing it my own self. My own words. Didn't believe my own words until January 1st of 2020. When whatever was on me broke off of me. I tell you, it means so much more to me now than it did when God woke me up at 3:00 in the morning to write it, because I didn't think that it was anything. And I feel like the song wasn't for nobody else but me.
Come on.
It was something that he needed to say to me because he knew the rest of that year was going to be hell for me. And that I needed to hear that in my ear on replay. I still believe in the impossible, mountains that move, a God that is able to give me power to do the impossible and move every mountain. Yes, I believe. I needed to hear that affirming word in my ear.
Yes,
every single day in the process. And I didn't realize what God was doing. But on January 1st of 2020, I understood it. I knew why he needed me to write that song. It wasn't for anybody else. It was for me. That song was for me. It was to keep me from pulling the trigger. It was to keep me from walking into the ocean. It was to keep me from jumping off of the building. It was to
Lord.
keep me from intentionally crashing my car. It was for me. Yeah. And so if you're out there and you are a singer or songwriter, let me encourage you now. Let me make sure that you really truly understand what it is that God has you doing. What God has you doing is ministering to yourself and patching yourself up in places that you didn't even know that you were broken in, so that you can be a more effective minister to the people. The things that he takes you through is not for naught. He's showing you a different side of him. I'm reminded of Moses when he was at the burning bush and he said, God, if you just walk by me and let me see the back end of your glory, I'll be okay. And so a lot of times we feel discouraged because we're not seeing God in our face. But what he's trying to do is show us the back end of his glory passing by us, so that we know that he's always with us, that we're always surrounded. Yeah. For I reckon the sufferings of this present time shall not be worthy to compare it to the glory that shall be revealed in us. Right. So I believe that when he gives you, when he champions you to write a song, when he gives you words, when he gives you a tune, when he gives you a song, that song is for nobody else but you. And blessing if somebody else can get something out of it, but that thing was meant specifically for you. That is God singing over you and singing over your life what you need to hear, not just in that moment, but in the moments to come. And I just believe, I'm crazy enough to believe that God meant that thing for me, because he knew I was planning my suicide. He knew I was ready to give up. He knew I was ready to stop. He knew I was feeling worthless and unimportant and unloved, right? He knew all of that. And he needed me to know that, you know what, you still got just a little bit in you. You got just a little bit still left in you.
Yes, Lord.
You know me better than that. I'm not going to leave you. I'm going to endow you with power and strength and reconcile you with my faith and my love. Yeah. So that when you get up out of this place, your yes that you have to him will be even the more stronger. That yes that comes out of my belly is so much more sincere now than it ever has been, because I understand what I had to go through to get to my yes. And I'm not willing to give it up because I worked so hard for it. Yeah. And so, yeah, singer songwriters, don't take that stuff lightly. It's not for money. It's not for fame. It's not even so anybody can hear your voice. God is giving you those words, and he is giving you those lyrics for your own personal deliverance first. First. It
Mm.
has to be real to you first before it can touch anybody else. And I just bless God. I just bless God for being chosen. I thank God for him allowing me to be a vessel, and that I just do not take it for granted. I don't take it lightly. I don't take it lightly, because he could have chosen somebody else. So
Well,
yeah, that's how the song got here.
and so this is the most appropriate time for our viewers. Now tell them, we're gonna let them hear the song, but tell them where they can go and download it and they can hear it over
Yeah.
and over again.
You can hear it over and over again on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Deezer, Tidal. It's pretty much everywhere. Anywhere that you can stream or download is there. On YouTube, there's a link as well. You can go to my website and access all of those links if you're not quite sure how to get there. You can go to adrianjwoods.com and click the link, and you should be able to hear it. So here we are. We're listening to I Still Believe. I still believe in the impossible, mountains that move, God that's able. You give me power to do the impossible, move every mountain. Yes, I believe. I still believe in the impossible, mountains that move, God that's able. To give me power. Oh, oh, oh. So endow me with your power and strength. reconcile me with your grace and your love. I'll still believe. Mountains and mountains. Yeah. Oh, give me power. Yeah. Yes, I believe. Oh, so endow me with your power and strength. Reconcile me with your grace and your love. Yeah. Yes to yes. Yes to yes. Yes to you, God. Yes to you. Say yes, I believe. Oh, yes to your will. Yes to your way. Yes, I will go. Yes, I will pray. Yeah. Yes, I believe. Oh, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know my God, He is able to do all things to carry me through. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, say yeah, 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 yes, I believe. Oh, you can be healed. You can be saved. You can be set free. You can be delivered. Yeah, 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 yeah. I still believe in us.
Yes.
God is able to give me power to be impossible. Move every mountain. Yes, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I still believe.
I still believe.
And we need an anthem during this COVID time to know that God is still in control and we shall believe.
Absolutely. He's
Oh,
never lost a battle. He's
that's
never lost a battle, and he never will.
that's beautiful.
And he never will.
During this COVID time, let's talk about COVID. Has it impacted your life in any way? It
Lord.
doesn't have to be the negative. We want this is a positive platform. Positive platform. Anything positive has come out of your life due to COVID.
Yeah, let me tell
And
you,
born.
the people of God thought I was crazy when I did a live a while back, and I said, I thank God for COVID. Because let me tell you something. There was no better time for me to sit my tail down, get some rest, work on me, right? To be creative and to have that liberty of not having to be at a certain place at a certain time. It was just beautiful. It was beautiful. And spending time with God and really challenging myself to put in writing and say it out of my mouth. What is it that I want from God? What is it that I want for the rest of my life? How do I plan to get there? Right. And so making sure to put those things in place. And COVID just was great for that. You know what I'm saying? Even with taking a break from being in the classroom a little bit and just being able to challenge myself to be more creative in how to teach my kids. Yeah. So I just feel like here's the thing. I said this and I meant what I said, and I'm gonna say it again. If you did not come out of COVID better than you went in, you didn't do it right. You didn't do it right. Because God literally shut everything down.
Mm.
You could turn your eyes upon Jesus and look full in his wonderful face so that the cares of life could grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Let me tell y'all something. It was just no better time for me to reaffirm my faith and get myself together and make some beautiful connections with some beautiful people, even just through social media. I mean, just it just was great for me. I did lose some people. I lost my dog during COVID, and I had to do all of that by myself, which was a very interesting experience, having to be alone and usher my pet into death.
Mm.
Um, but I will say that those who we have lost in this time, we didn't lose them. We know where they are. They didn't go anywhere, right? They're still with us in some kind of way. But the lessons that were learned, right? That life is so precious and that you don't really have time to sweat the small stuff. And the stuff that you can't fix ain't even worth you worrying about. Like
Amen.
it's the lessons that come out of having to sit in your house by yourself. You can't go nowhere, and everywhere you go, you got on a mask. Kindness and compassion and empathy, right? Learning those things, that it's okay for me to still reach on the top shelf and get this box of cereal for this elderly lady that can't reach it, even though we got on these masks and we supposed to be socially distanced, right? So just learning how to be a better human. I really feel like COVID just blessed my life. I pray that it blessed y'all's life like that too, but I know that it blessed me. Letting go of relationships that didn't need to be in place. Girl, the ease of walking away from folks when you can't be in their face. God is showing up good. Huh? He's great. He is great and greatly to be praised. So yeah, it was a blessing. As much damage that it did, it was also a blessing. And I just feel like if you're able to see God in this time, then you can see him through anything else.
I love it. I love it. Well, with all of that, okay, the mantra here on Sunday Night Live is to dream big. So
Dream big.
dream big, dream big. That's
Dream
what we
big.
do. This is a positive platform.
Hey.
So, what is your biggest dream?
Ooh, I have so many.
That's
I
okay.
have so
Put them
many.
all out there for God.
It's funny that you say that because I am a dreamer. I do have dreams. Um, man, yikes. So I mean, sometimes your dreams are so big you're scared to say them.
Well, that's true too. That's true too.
They scare you because they're so big, and I feel like if they don't scare you, you ain't dreaming big enough. Um, I one of the things that I definitely want to do is sing somewhere in Europe. Right, just be in Europe or in Africa somewhere singing, even if it's just for a few months. Right, it's something that I want to do. It's something that I wanted to accomplish. I want to finish writing all these songs that I have started writing in the past few months, and I feel like they're just coming every day and several times a day. So I want to make sure that I finish what I started. And y'all, songwriting is a lot. The process of songwriting is really not that much, but the process of recording it and getting it down and getting the music to it, it is a lot. And so when you wonder why artists are taking long breaks before they put something else out, that's why. It's a lot.
It's a process.
It is a lot. It's a long process, and it can be difficult if you don't have the right people around you.
I was just going to tell you, I love the word that you say. It is a process, and the journey in life is a process. Songwriting is a process. I love it. I love it.
It's all a process. So, I mean, yeah, those are my biggest dreams. I mean, my wildest dreams, y'all, I used to say, okay, don't laugh at me. I want to sing background for Shaka Khan. Just one time. Just one time. I mean, Shaka, if you see this, I promise I can squall just like you, sis. I just want just one song. It ain't even got to be no whole set. Just one song between Shaka and Tina. Just once. I'm done. If I can sing behind Shaka Khan and Tina Turner, I'm done. I mean, I did the Michael McDonald thing. That was great. I did the Loud Love It thing, the Mariah Carey thing. That was great. But if I can get behind Shaka and Tina, oh my. I mean, I'll do the dances and everything. What you want me to wear? You want me to wear one of them leotards, girl? I will do it. I want to
love it.
Listen, Love them.
I love
Love
it.
them.
Well, you
Yeah,
answered my next question. I was going to ask you what famous musicians would you like to collaborate with, or sing along. But you just answered that question.
Shaka and Tina.
Okay, Shaka. We will believe that Shaka. Somebody hashtag this video right now on YouTube.
There are more.
That's right.
There are more. So I'll name a few. Gregory Porter, love his voice is like velvet. I've had the pleasure of meeting him before while I was attending one of his concerts. He's amazing. Beautiful, beautiful voice. Another person, obviously, Michael McDonald. Don't tell nobody. That's my husband in secret. Listen, I don't know if he married, but I love Michael McDonald. Really want to collaborate with him. I can't think of anybody else. I mean, I can think of a lot of people, but I can't think of anybody in particular. Growing up, I listened to a lot of Shirley Caesar. My youth choir was privileged enough to open up for her. So I do have there is a deep fondness in my heart for the Shirley Caesar. Okay. So Shirley, if you see this, whatever, if you want me to just ooh and do wop, sis, I got you. I got you. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. There's just so many of them, and then artists that that a lot of people haven't necessarily heard of because they're kind of flying under the radar or they're still independent artists. There are artists like that I want to collaborate with, of course, but there's just so much work that I want to do, and I just believe that God is faithful and He's going to honor my request and my desire and put me into those places where I can achieve those goals for His kingdom and for His glory, not for me.
What is your biggest reward you feel from your songwriting and your gift of singing and being in this? What is your greatest reward?
Oh man, seeing people's lives changed. I have a couple of coworkers that stop me every single day and they say, "Oh, I listen to your song every day on the way to work, and my kids know the words and they sing along with it, right?" And I feel like it's rewarding, not because it's me, but because I'm having an opportunity to plant the seed and somebody else can water it and then somebody else can reap the harvest. But I feel all right that I'm able to plant that seed for somebody. Yeah. I mean, that's just it is seeing the people's faces light up or people actually put themselves into the lyrics and really understand that, yeah, this is something that I need, right? That, yeah, I do still believe, like, I'm not going to give up. So seeing that spark in people, at that lift in people after they hear it or after they realize, yeah, God is too good for me to not believe, He's brought me too far for me to give up now. I love to hear those types of testimonies, and not just when they hear that song, right? So just being a worship leader and after church where people come in and say, I came in here and I felt some kind of way and God used you mightily and I feel delivered. I feel like I got my breakthrough. All glory goes to God. I feel privileged that He would use little old me, to be a vessel for that, for His deliverance and His breakthrough and His healing and His miracles and signs and wonders. That to me is the biggest takeaway. And nothing else. I want wholeness for anybody who hears my voice,
yes,
or not, or who's in my presence. Yeah.
What if you could change anything in the music industry, what would that be?
There's so much.
Did you say royalties? There's so
much.
You said so much.
There's so much.
Just the name.
There's so much that I would love to change about the music industry. Gospel music industry in particular. I don't know how many of you all have seen the video by Ty Tribbett and Molly Music, who have spoken out about the gospel music industry and how I'm choosing my words, how very interesting it is. And how it is not that much different from the quote unquote secular music industry. Because at the end of the day, business is business. It is what it is. Yeah. So concerning the business end of the industry, yes, I do wish that royalties were much simpler to get to. That would be great. But as far as the personalities, there seems to be And I need you to hear the spirit of what I'm saying, because if you know me, y'all know I don't really even like to be in the front. I like to be in the back anyway. But there seems to be an impenetrable circle, right? And so for those of us who are new artists, there's so much sacrificing of our personal beliefs or our walk with God in order to get into these places and these spaces. And it's not always the case, but more often than not, it truly is. And I can say that confidently because I've been exposed to the music industry almost all of my life. I started gigging in Atlanta when I was 16 years old, singing at the JR Crickets, singing jazz standards, right? And so even the unfairness when it comes to how women are treated versus men in the industry, or how darker skinned, heavy set women are treated versus those who have been blessed, to be a little thinner or to be a little lighter or have the natural longer hair. All right. So things like that, that it is very much so still image driven. I just wish that there were broader platforms for those of us who are not, trying to break into the industry or in any capacity, right? So if you're trying to get in as a songwriter or as a singer or as a background vocalist, there are days that I really wish that it were not so heavily determined by what clique you in, what circle you're a part of, because there are some beautiful gifts and some beautiful gems that I feel like the world has missed out on because of these cliques and because of these circles. Take me out of it. I know some folks who can sing down heaven, and baby, before you leave out of there, God done made a way to pay your bills, and your mama been healed of cancer and everything else. You know what I'm saying? Because God uses them so in that
Yes.
way. And I really wish that the gospel industry would make more room for God, that you would make more room for God and for the people of God. And I think that's the simplest way that I can put it, without compromising people that I know who are a part of that industry. I just really wish that the industry would make more room for God, because those artists that I do know who are a part of the industry who have such a God mind and a God spirit are not the ones that you see on these major platforms. The ones who are really singing Jesus and really preaching Jesus, and they really, really mean it. And I'm not saying that the ones on the big platform are not. I'm just saying who I know, right? And these are people that you hear on the radio.
Right.
They're not being put in front of the people. And I don't know why. I mean, it could be marketing, it could be their team, it could be whatever. It could be because they don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars for their music to be played on syndicated radio like everybody else. Amen and praise the Lord. But I mean, I gotta be real with it. But there are people who really mean Jesus, and they are really walking that walk, and they are really talking that talk, and they are sincere. And they are not the ones who are being elevated in front of the people. And it could honestly be God's plan for that to happen. But I just really wish that more people knew who these folks were. Yeah. A great example, Isabel Davis. Super sweet. Super sweet. Met her and we talked like we were old girlfriends and grew up together, you know? And she really lives the life that she sings about and really lives the life that she preaches about. And she is a woman of God in every sense of the word. She is a worshiper in every sense of the word. But you will not see her on a lot of these major platforms. And I don't know if it's because people are just kind of catching up to what she has to offer, or whatever it is. Not to make it super duper personal, but I just believe that there are some people, and it's the last time I'm going to say it, who really mean God, who really should be in front of the industry instead of some of the wonderful people that we see in front of the industry. Yeah, in lieu of those, so that God can be glorified.
Amen.
So that we're not glorifying a figure or a head or a person. Yeah. So that's how I feel about that.
Before we close out, because I got a couple more questions I want to ask. What has been the best advice that someone has given you, and what's the best advice that you would give someone?
My producer I was cutting the lead vocals, and I was in a pool of tears because my anxiety level was at an all-time high. It was terrible. And he walks in there and he says, just sing the song. Just sing the song. It's okay. You got it. Just sing the song. And I had worked myself up so much. Oh, what if I let the people down? What if they don't like it? What if I mess the song up? What if my voice is not right for my own song? What if my voice is not right for my song? Yeah. I'd hype myself all the way up. I mean, I was losing it. And to hear him reassure me and say, just sing the song. It's your song. You wrote it. Just sing the song. Like, who's going to sing your song better than you? Just sing the song. And if you're in that space in your head, y'all get out your head. Singers, get out of your head. As long as you live, there will always be somebody who can do what you do and do it better, right? But there's something very specific about you and very unique about you that God created in you that nobody else can do. And so live in that space. Take space for that space, right? Be confident in that space that, you know, there's something specifically that God has put me here for. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay in my lane, right? So stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. Comparison is the companion of defeat. Stop comparing yourself to other people because you'll self-defeat. Yeah. There's always somebody better than you. I mean, come on, Shaka Khan and Tina, I could never. Okay, sis could never. Jill Scott could never. Jasmine Sullivan could never. Do you hear me? Doggone Shirley Caesar could never. Okay, but I'm confident in what it is that I can do and what I've been gifted to do because I know that part nobody else can do it but me because God gave that to me. Yeah. So be comfortable in what it is that God has given to you specifically to do and stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. You're not here to be like somebody else. Be you.
Last question before we close out. With all of this going on in your life and your journey, I want to know, how are you self-caring? How are you balancing all this? What are you doing for self-care for yourself?
Don't ask me that question in public.
Ah! Jesus turned water to wine. That's all I'm going to say.
Don't ask me that question in public. That is actually my struggle right now. Learning how to balance everything. I'm in a real estate class. I'm a full-time teacher. I am a worship leader / all things to all people at Light of the World. I am a family person. I love my mom and my daddy and my sisters. So I struggle trying to make time for myself and make time for my family. What I have been doing lately, y'all, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to hit it and quit it. Get you a therapist.
I love it.
Get you a therapist. You dealing with some stuff or not. You just need somebody to talk to who's neutral. Get you a therapist. I'm trying to tell you. But that's actually one of my self-care things. I actually picked back up roller skating until I can get back to the roller skating rink. I've been skating around my kitchen in my cute little holographic rose gold pink skates, girl. Yes. I love roller skating. Doing stuff like this, going live on Facebook, staying really close to the people I know who have my best interests at heart. I have a very small circle, and those people who are blessed enough to be in that inner circle, because we create boundaries for ourselves so that we make sure that we don't overextend ourselves or, invite people into that space who should not be there. But I stay in close contact with my very, very best friends that I've known for over 20 years. And just encourage and lift each other up, because right now balance is everybody's struggle, right? Drink water, stay hydrated, moisturize, and I mind my own business. That's it.
I love it.
That's it.
Well, Adrian, I just want to thank you again for spending this hour with me on Sunday Night Live with Sylvia Camille. Your story, your journey is very powerful, and it needed to be heard. Yes. So I want everybody to like, comment, share, and go download I Still Believe.
Download
for everybody. Sure. Whenever you're in doubt, just pull out Adrian's song and know that God.
Look, I listen to it when I'm in doubt. Okay. Yes. Yeah, y'all.
Stay right there for 1 second, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Guys, that's all the time Sylvia Camille has for you this Sunday. That was amazing. Her story had me in tears. That's why I love my platform, because I like to bring artists on so we can talk about their journey, because what she's going through, you may be going through, I could be going through. It's somebody's story. Oprah Winfrey once said, a story is not powerful unless you are willing to share it, because our sharing blesses somebody. So remember this week, I want you to believe, okay? I love you guys. Like, comment, share. Same time, same place. Sunday Night Live with Sylvia Camille next Sunday. Smooches.